All right, everybody. Hey, this is Michael Imhotep, host of the African History Network show. I am here with the one and only, the legendary radio talk show host and activist, Mr. Bob Law. How you doing today, brother?
Good to be with you.
All right, good. Well, you know, I've interviewed you before when I did the Michael Imhotep show, my nationally syndicated radio show. You have been in radio for decades. You're now on WBAI. Well, you're a legend. You're a legend in radio. I used to listen to you, Night Talk. Years ago, man, from Detroit, and I would pick up the signal. My bedroom was on the third level of our house, and I would pick up the signal, a faint signal, and I would listen to Bob Law and Night Talk.
Yes. WCHB in Detroit.
Well, we had WCHB, Radio 1 sold it, but yeah, we had WCHB 1200 AM. But you're now on WBAI here in New York. And you don't just do radio, but you also are an activist. I know right now you are involved in this initiative to clean up the radio airwaves here in New York, dealing with obscene music. Okay, could you let people know about that as well? What exactly is that initiative?
Yeah, you know, it is. I think it's important to make it clear.
Sure.
That we're not talking about music.
Okay.
There are people who defend music.
Okay.
But they're talking about the chords and the sound,
the melody,
the
strings. Yes.
Really not talking about music. We're talking about. We're really, in my view, not even talking about lyrics.
Okay.
We're talking about rhetoric.
Right.
That some people call lyrics.
Okay.
Now you notice when the last shooting, mass shooting, they talked about how it was the rhetoric that contributes to the climate, that encourages that.
Exactly.
Behavior. And they even talked about taking down
the El Paso shooting, El Paso, Texas. Yes.
They talked about taking down the website.
Yes.
That the guy who did the shooting was addicted to.
8chan
Right?
was the, yep.
Even the person who created that website said that he thinks it's time to take it down.
Exactly.
Because it is becoming a place to exchange vulgar, violent rhetoric.
Right.
And there's no doubt when the victims are white.
Right.
See, there's no doubt that the rhetoric contributed to the climate, contributed to the attitude that provoked the killing.
Right.
It is the rhetoric that attempts to normalize dysfunctional behavior.
Yes.
And what's happening in the black community is that the music is a very powerful, very important, very powerful instrument.
Exactly.
Very powerful communications tool.
Exactly.
People who don't have time, music has always been the literature of the masses.
Exactly.
People who don't have time to read, people who are not inclined to read, the people who can't read, but they were all listening to the radio.
Exactly.
They were all listening to the music.
Right. That was our CNN. That was our MSNBC.
And the people who never had time or inclination to read Zora Neale Hurston, Sonia Sanchez, Hakeem Al-Buti, but they listened to Curtis Mayfield.
Right.
James Brown.
Right. I'm black and I'm proud.
They listen to people say, keep on pushing, reach your higher ground.
Right.
They listen to songs that even taught them how to relate to each other. They listen to
Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell. Yes. I'm from Motown.
Right.
So I know. Oh yes, I'm from Motown. Marvin Gaye, Tammy Terrell, Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, the Supremes, the Temptations. Absolutely.
And even those songs that the singers may not have intended to have a political message, but they did have a political message within the context of this hostile environment where we were growing up.
Absolutely.
So the music was a liberating tool, even if some of the singers didn't realize that. But the music helped to free the mind.
Right.
It taught us how to relate to each other. Look at the lyrics from songs like Shining Star.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. Yes.
And Shining Star. See how bright you can truly be.
Yeah, right.
Music by Manhattans and Ray Goodman and Brown, Special Lady. You must be a special lady.
Right.
As opposed to the music now that says you're a hope.
Right.
And a beat.
Right. And a thought. Yep.
And I'm going to rape your sister and then make her disappear. I'm going to run up in your house and I hope your mama's home. I'm going to shoot everybody in your house. I'm going to keep shooting until somebody dies.
Right.
And
It's a culture of death, largely, you know. And we're not against, especially me, I'm not against conscious hip hop that elevates the conscious level. But what we're focusing on is negative corporate control of hip hop.
See, I think also we want to make it clear if we can.
Sure.
It's not about it. We're not even addressing hip hop.
Okay.
There are people who love hip hop.
Sure.
There are people who don't understand it, even though it is not the vulgar. You know, there are some of us who say you ought to be listening to Coltrane and Hard Silver. Anyway.
Right.
That's what you should listen to anyway.
Right.
However, what we're really talking about is the vulgar rhetoric.
Exactly.
That is on the air, and also coming from the disc jockeys who deliberately talk down to their audience. They slur their words.
Okay.
They talk like they're trying to be street hip. And some of them, like here in New York City, you know, they're college graduates. They're not ignorant at all.
Right.
But they have such contempt for their people that in order to relate to their people, rather than urge their people to reach higher in our mind, they say, stay where you are in the gutter. We'll come down there.
So they're dumbing down the message. They're dumbing down the rhetoric.
And they dumb down their delivery. And they try to talk like gangsters. And so that is our concern. That music, that rhetoric, those ideas contribute to a climate that is particularly destructive within the black community. So consider this. Music, without you even being aware of it.
Sure.
Music creates a community. People who identify with a certain kind of music also see themselves as being part of that community.
Right.
People who like classical music, they don't just like music, they like being a part of the classical community.
Exactly. It creates a culture.
People who like jazz, they don't just like the music.
Right.
They also enjoy being hip, being kind of sophisticated, hip, knowledgeable.
And there's slang, there's language that's around the culture.
Absolutely.
There's dress that's around the culture. Also, we see this in jazz. We see this with the Temptations. We see this in hip hop. I mean, you know, we just had my 30-year high school reunion for Cass Tech Class 89. So I remember some of the people who were there. I remember they used to have patent leather top 10 Adidas, and they wore the gold chains and the Adidas sweatsuits because we wanted to be Run DMC.
Right.
All right. So there's a culture that's around it as well.
Music creates the community.
Yes.
And killer music creates a community of people who want to identify with being killers. You can look at them walk up and down the street.
Right.
You can look at the look on their face. You can look at their language. You can look at their impatience and their intolerance with each other.
Right.
You can look at how they are shooting each other for looking at somebody too long. They have bought into the killer community.
Right.
And now it becomes fashionable or acceptable for them to walk through our community representing their new killer community. And it is a community that is introduced to them and then reinforced very much so by the music. So people who defend the music, see, people say things like, these are young people expressing their view.
Right.
Or these are young people and we can't take their voice from them. What else? They say that we can't take their voice. Oh, they say this is about artistic freedom.
Right. Well, there's let them make their money. And then the other argument I hear where there's a generational divide. You just don't understand. Now the argument, I've been studying media for 27 years. You may not know this about me. My degree is not in history, it's in business administration with a major in marketing. The foundation of marketing is psychology. So in marketing, graduated from Wayne State's Business School, we learn how to craft messages and understand what's behind the messages. And what I explain to people is that the same record companies that put out these negative messages, I talk about negative corporate control hip hop. I'm not saying that's what you talk about, but these messages, these negative messages, they have white artists who are on labels from the same record company. And the messages the white artists put out are largely totally different than the messages they allow the black artists to put out.
They're absolutely different.
Yeah.
Like the same artist, same white artist. what is the most popular?
Well, Taylor Swift, not hip hop, but Taylor Swift. She was just on Good Morning America this morning.
Well, there's another guy, a white artist who's real popular.
Rapper?
Right.
Eminem?
Not Eminem. I'll think of his name in a minute. He's so popular. How come I don't remember his name?
Okay.
But he has a songs for it. It's the white artist who says he's Jewish, and he talks about how he comes. His mother was Jewish.
Okay.
And
Drake.
Drake. Okay. He's mixed. Yeah. Okay. White artist too for a minute. Yeah. He's mixed. Drake. Yeah.
So Drake.
Right.
And he's the one who pointed out that he was Jewish.
Right.
Now, if you listen to his music, he never says anything that could be misconstrued or offensive to Jewish people. But he uses the N-word all the time.
Exactly.
See, when he's talking to us, he talks, he curses.
Right.
He uses the N-word. And see, I maintain that these artists are using the N-word quite deliberately in order to make it clear to the record industry that they are not talking about their wives and women.
Right.
They want to make it clear that they're talking about our wives and women.
Exactly.
They're talking about the daughters of our people.
Right.
So they have to make it clear to the white managers, concert promoters, venue owners, the people who
Record executives, the
control,
suits.
That's right. The people who control the corporate industry you're talking about. Those black rappers use the N-word because nobody else is using it like that but them.
Exactly.
All over the world, people say N-word.
Right.
These are the only people who still use the word. And they use the word because they have to make it clear to the people who actually own them that they are not talking about their children, they're talking about our children. So that's part of our concern, is that the effort is to make dysfunctional behavior normal.
Right.
And there is what might be called an unholy alliance that the rappers may not even, I'm sure they're not even aware, between that corporate record industry and the killer rappers.
Okay.
To demonize black youth.
Right.
So that when you hear Trump talk about coming for immigrants, first you'll notice how he demonizes the immigrants.
Exactly.
They're women and children. But he says they're coming across the border, they're carrying drugs, they're carrying disease, they do all kind of, he demonizes them.
Exactly.
But the function of media, very much so, is to manufacture consent for the policymakers.
Right.
So with this alliance between the record industry and the killer rappers is to manufacture consent to move on black youth. And so you have black youth who are cooperating with that process.
Right. And a lot of them unwittingly.
Unwittingly. I would say almost all of them.
Right.
They have no idea, they're so apolitical, they have no idea what they are doing.
How they're being used.
Absolutely. So, but my concern is the black folk who defend that irrational, irresponsible behavior. How come they cooperate? See, when black people say these are young people and we can't take their voice from them, why would you consider what they are saying and doing at their level of consciousness, their voice? Why not help them discover their voice? Why do you let them get away with thinking that what they are doing is the best and all they are capable of? How dare you say that's their voice? You know, and I think it is because the people who defend it on those terms, black people, are really people who do not really love or care about those young black people. They're afraid of them. They would just as soon get them out of the way. What they're really saying to them is, listen, brothers, I hear you. I hear your pain. I feel your pain. I know where you're coming from. I'm your friend. So when y'all get mad and go berserk, don't come to me. You know, they have no real concern for the future of those young people at all. So they say silly things like, we can't take their voice from them. How dare you say that? It makes you think that is their voice. They are caught up in an industry that manipulates their every move, and they're coming out of a dysfunctional school system that hasn't prepared them for the 21st century. You think that what they are saying is a legitimate expression You think that's their voice? They have never even heard their own real voice. And so what is necessary is a movement on their behalf that helps them to discover their voice. So we move to challenge that inappropriate behavior. We move to challenge that strategy. And making dysfunctional behavior acceptable, plausible. The move is to make dysfunctional behavior acceptable, and so that's what we struggle against. It is against the rhetoric that is concocted by a record industry. See, those artists have other music, and they can't get the other music played. So if you talk to people's speech from Arrested Development,
I know speech.
If you talk to the brothers in Dead Prez, a bunch of people, a lot of artists, they point out, and the person who first called me about it was Chuck D.
Public Enemy.
And they point out that they have music, but they can't get that music.
Like new music, yes.
They've got other ideas. They have their voice. But if they come in their voice, they can't get it played. So people who have to stop pretending that they are being supportive of hip-hop or rap by saying that they understand where it's at right now, because where it's at right now is not even where the rap is going to be. And if you spend any real time with any of them for real, you will understand that. And so that is part of the concern. I was mentioning that Drake earlier, other rappers. See, in New York City, there's these real vulgar radio stations, and I maintain Hot 97. These are the radio stations that hate black people. These are the radio stations where the music denigrates black women, the disc jockeys, if they, coming from radio, I don't want to call them disc jockeys, it does harm to the legacy. Radio personalities there does harm to the legacy. They need a different term for who they are. And the way that they talk and the way that they denigrate women and children. However, there's also a radio station called Z100. Z100 is the white hip hop. The white hip is a white on station. Z100. And the target audience, all of them are white on. But the target audience is white. Z100 music by Drake is very different than the music by Drake that is on Hot 97. The same artists who are cursing and using the N-word and calling women vulgar names and promoting vulgarity, that on the black station, they don't tolerate that. And the radio personalities on Z100 sound like bright, young white people.
They have different standards.
They don't curse. They don't slur their words. They don't talk like that from the street. That is set aside and reserved for blacks only. And the black people on the radio tolerate that. They cooperate with that. And so that is what we push back against.
Well, the name of the campaign is the Respect Us campaign. The Respect Us campaign.
Yes, the Respect Us campaign comes from the National Congress of Black Women. And they are saying on behalf of women, respect us. That they have been, black women have been disrespected, denigrated, but disrespected on every level. In media on all fronts. So black women are saying respect us, and our organization, the National Black Leadership Alliance, supports the help to create the Respect Us campaign.
Well, I first found out about this initiative from an article from AtlantaBlackStar.com from July 3rd, 2019, written by Lauren Floyd, entitled "Black Leaders Tried to Ban Indecent Hip Hop from Radio Stations in New York During the Day." That's how I first found out about this. And just a quick excerpt from to let people know about this, a quick excerpt from the article says, "The Respect Us campaign is aimed at ending support for broadcasts from urban radio stations that feature music that demeans, denigrates, and promotes violence against women, with black women as the primary target," the National Congress of Black Women said in a Facebook post. The initiative, also backed by the National Black Leadership Alliance, focuses specifically on urban radio stations because they target the black community, organizers said in an October 2018 news press release. And I just want to give a quick example. You talked about Drake. A few years ago, YourBlackWorld.net had an article about this, and I talked about this on my radio show. Nicki Minaj had a song called "Only," and in the video "Only," she and others in the video they were wearing a uniform that resembled the Nazis in Nazi Germany, okay? And they had a symbol, there was like a banner that had a symbol that was reminiscent of that, but it wasn't exactly that. Well, she received backlash from the Jewish community because of this, okay? So she put out a statement apologizing for this. In the same song, she used the N-word multiple times and did not apologize to African Americans for degrading us and dehumanizing us. So see, here we see two standards.
Absolutely.
We see two standards, and we see even African American artists will denigrate us. But then when they get pushback, okay, from one community that feels disrespected, they will apologize to them, but will not apologize to the African American community for the same offenses.
Right. That is a pattern. There's the brother who said that he makes Jew money, I think. And
Was that Rick Ross?
No,
that wasn't Rick Ross, brother.
This is
who was it? Wasn't LeBron James? Was it a basketball player?
no, this is a rapper. This is a hip-hop artist.
Okay.
And he's the one who had just been arrested by ICE, and they were going.
Oh, okay. Not A$AP Rocky, but that was 21 Savage.
21 Savage.
21 Savage,
Look
right?
at that. Somebody named this human being
Savage, exactly.
Right? Name this brother Savage. See, that's how you normalize dysfunctional behavior.
Exactly. And dehumanization, you normalize the
And it's
dehumanization.
the culture, he plays into the culture of dehumanization. He actually is allowing people to call him savage.
And he's fairly smart as far as rappers go too.
But he's down with Savage because he's part of that killer community. And in that community that rhetoric has created, Savage is not offensive.
Right.
But now he said that he was doing so well that he made Jew money. He didn't mean it offensively.
Right.
You know, he thought that the Jewish people would even applaud that. He was trying to say that he's as successful as they are. Well, they were offended when he said that. So he apologized.
Right.
And he said, I love everybody. You love everybody. What about that lyric from you that says, I've got killers lined up in a row. And he counts off about 18 killers. I've got 1, 2, 3, counts them off. And we're going to go up in your house and keep shooting until somebody dies. But he's only talking about black people. See, look at this.
Right.
When we talk about how this whole scheme works, look at Nicki Minaj. Then, I think it was not Nicki Minaj, I think Cardi B just responded to someone saying that these female rappers were strippers who rap.
Yeah, that was Jermaine Dupri who said that.
And so I think...
And he had a point for some of their music. Yeah, some of their music centers around the stripping culture or that mindset, and you see it reflected in some of their videos also. But go ahead.
If you look at the video, they absolutely are strippers.
Well, Cardi B used to be a stripper,
and,
you know.
However, she pushed back against that.
Right.
I have to say, why would you push back against that? Why would you try to normalize what this record industry makes you do in order to be successful?
Right.
They don't do that to white country stars.
They don't.
Those Reba McEntire and whoever else.
They don't do that to Taylor Swift. You look at the white female pop artists. You know, this is one thing I tell my listeners to do. Go watch an hour of BET, of the videos on BET Jams. Okay, go watch the latest hip hop videos. Then go watch an hour of the latest videos on MTV, the pop videos. You think you are on a different planet.
Absolutely.
It's totally the messages, the imagery. You don't see money falling from the skies in their videos. Most of their videos don't take place in clubs or strip clubs. You see less references to alcohol and illegal drug usage, things like that. The messaging is totally different, and they're coming from the same record companies.
And the filmmakers who are hired to do those black hip hop are filmmakers who were called from the porn industry. Those are porn filmmakers. So those angles are shooting up from the butt and all of that. But I forgot the point. I wanted to make a point about look at this, to normalize dysfunction.
Right.
So now they have a term called sex worker. And the sex worker is what you should call prostitutes.
Prostitutes, right.
And because all work is honorable.
Okay.
See? And so sex, you don't call them a hoe.
Right.
Those are sex workers.
That reminds me of Della Reese and Harlem Nights, but okay, go ahead.
But look at this.
Right.
Being a prostitute
Right.
is dirty, dangerous. It is exploitation of the woman to the utmost. I heard a pimp tell the woman, get out there and bring me my money.
Right.
And I was saying, how did it become his money?
Right. Why don't you go out there and get it yourself?
She's the one going in the street in the winter.
Right.
You know, it is dangerous.
Sure.
Those guys pulling up in those cars, you don't know who they are. And if they are pulling up in a car to take a young girl off the street, there's something wrong with them. So it is very dangerous, it is vulgar, it is unhealthy.
Right.
It is risky. Why would you try to normalize that and call making a living that way honorable and something that we should now call sex workers, as opposed to taking the girl off the street, as opposed to creating a better alternative? You can stay in the street. You know, we just won't call you a hoe anymore.
Okay.
You can stay in the street. We won't call you a working girl or a prostitute. We'll call you a sex worker. So, that's how you normalize that vulgar behavior. That's how you normalize dysfunctional behavior. See, those are the kind of con games that are played on black people all of the time. It's like the affordable housing con game.
Okay.
If you say to somebody, we want to create affordable housing, doesn't that sound like a good idea?
Right, but affordable to who?
but so they say to poor people, the issue is affordable housing. We have to create affordable housing. So poor people have someplace decent to live. What about we take them out of poverty?
Right.
What about instead of creating housing that poor people can afford? See, the housing costs are up here. Your income is down here.
Right.
We're going to leave your income here.
Right.
And we're going to build some houses down here.
Right.
That makes it a little bit easier for you to be poor.
Right.
As opposed to lifting you up out of poverty.
Right.
Which is what has happened to every other ethnic group in this country. People who came here along to the Lower East Side, they all came poor. Irish, Italian, Jewish, everybody came to New York City poor.
Right.
Everybody came to America poor. And they like to talk about how their great-great-grandfather came with $100, came with $10.
And a lot of them came illegally also. You know this, but see, they act like, a lot of them have selective amnesia.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of them came illegally. And a lot of them did illegal things when they got here. They were bootleggers.
Yeah, they did illegal things to come up out of poverty.
Exactly.
But they came up out of poverty. That was their strategy.
Well, you know what? Let me just say this quickly, right? See, I'm a historian also. Now, there's a commercial from Ancestry.com which talks about how it's a white guy talking about his grandfather or great-grandfather was a bootlegger. And they romanticize being a bootlegger, which was illegal. And they talk about this being an adventure and things like this, right? You are romanticizing criminality. Right. Okay? But if it was African Americans, and they were talking about their great-grandfather being the numbers runner or controlling the numbers in Harlem or something like that, that would be demonized. Now, this is a commercial for Ancestry.com saying we can trace your ancestry, and they're romanticizing criminality in the commercial. You know, so we see a double standard. Yeah, they think it's cute. It's an adventure.
A little cute thing in your family tree.
Exactly.
And I was just watching Ancestry.com. It was not Ancestry.com. It was the show that Henry Louis Gates.
Okay, yeah. Tracing your ancestry on PBS.
Right.
Yes.
And he was talking to an entertainer who was talking about how as they go back, and he had a grandfather, a great-grandfather, who came to America with $10. Their whole family is prosperous now.
Right.
There's no poor people in their family. He came to America with $10. There's a reason he was able to prosper and survive and prosper, although he started with only $10.
Right.
But their strategy, if somebody don't lose the point, their strategy was to come out of poverty. It was never the intention of any other ethnic group to stay poor.
Right.
Black people are only people who are given the strategy of stay poor. We want to make it easier for you to be poor.
Right.
So stay in the gutter. We're going to call you a sex worker. See, continue to strip. And see, that is, and I saw a picture of Nicki Minaj. There's no, wish you could show that picture, there's no way to describe this other than a porn star stripper. You know, but
well, if you watch her video Anaconda, which is one of her most popular songs, it looks like soft porn. And in the song, she talks about having sex with a guy because he sells cocaine. You know, when you read the lyrics, I encourage parents to go to azlyrics.com. The letter A, the letter Z, as in zebra, azlyrics.com. And type in the names of these songs and read the lyrics, okay? She talks about having sex with a guy who sells cocaine. She talks about and when you listen to the song, she's talking about being a man's girlfriend who engages in criminality. So then young brothers will hear this, see this video, they see young African American girls trying to imitate Nicki Minaj, and they think, well, look, I need to go out here and do these illegal things so I can get this type of paper so I can have a woman like Nicki, okay? And these are the messages being fed to our people. Very quickly here, from the article from AtlantaBlackStar.com, it talks about how radio host Bob Law and Councilwoman Inez Barron introduced a city council resolution to limit indecent and profane music between the hours of 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. when children are likely to listen, according to WPIX-TV. So what is the status of this resolution? What is the status of the Respect Us campaign as it stands right now?
Well, as you know, the resolution comes out of the Respect Us campaign.
Sure.
Inez Barron was the only woman on the city council here in New York City who was willing to entertain this resolution.
Okay.
We talked to other people as well.
Wow. Now, first of all, how many city council members are there, and how many women are there on city council?
I don't know how many in total. The New York City Council is big.
Okay.
It's around 30 people.
30 people in total.
You know, but there are a number of black and brown women.
Okay.
On the city council.
But no men wanted to support this initiative?
No, we hadn't talked to the men.
Oh, okay, okay.
Right. This is part of the Respect Us.
Right.
And so women are coming forward saying Respect Us.
Okay.
And so we talked to members of the city council, sisters on the city council. They are like, oh yeah, I'm with this. Oh yeah. Okay, so we want to talk to you again Tuesday. We want to bring people together from around the country, give you background information, let you know that how many people are really behind this. It's not just somebody here in New York doing this by herself.
Right.
And they say, okay, and never show up for the next phone call. And never make it.
The conference call meeting.
Right.
Never show up.
They would never show up. They put it off. But we talked to Inez. Inez is not a professional politician.
Okay.
See, the difference with Inez Barron and all the other people in the city council, Inez Barron is the only member, she's one of the members of the city council. We're hearing from one or two others taking positions on some other issues that are kind of progressive.
Sure.
For the city council.
Sure.
But with this issue, Inez she's not a professional politician.
Okay.
And so she was not worried about what the reaction would be.
Right, backlash or anything like that. She was worried.
Most of these professional black politicians are concerned about their career.
Right.
I maintain that black politicians, professional politicians, they do not care about black people at all. They care about their own career aspirations, their own personal career aspirations. So we took it to Inez, explained it, and asked her to introduce it to the city council.
Okay.
To get a city council resolution by way of helping to gain more visibility, more credibility, and put a little bit of pressure on these radio stations and their sponsors.
Right.
So
the sponsors are important, the corporations.
Right.
Because the corporations spend money on ads on these radio stations. But when you look at these corporations, a lot of the money they spend, they get from us. Okay? We help to finance that. We help the dollars that we spend with a lot of these white corporations pay for the jobs that the air personalities have who demonize us, dehumanize us, and denigrate us. So we have to leverage our economics to push our political agendas.
Right. And you'll notice that when any other group is offended, whether they be Jewish or gay any other group
Right.
that is organized.
Right.
Because people say things that are offensive to gay people, they say things that are offensive to Jewish people. Whenever they do that, the sponsors, without having to be approached, immediately withdraw.
Right.
When you say things that are offensive to black people, we go to the sponsor, McDonald's, Home Depot. We go to the sponsors and we say, this is what's said on the air. It is offensive to black people. Would you be willing to withdraw your commercials from the stations that are saying things that are offensive to black people?
Right.
The sponsors say we could care less about black people. If we black people buy whatever we put out there. So if we go to McDonald's and we say to McDonald's that this radio station is promoting these really offensive ideas, not just insulting, they're promoting killing black people.
Right.
We print out the lyrics, say, look at this. This says, I'm going to kill your mom.
And this is something you've done.
Right.
Print out the lyrics, took it to the sponsors.
Take it to the sponsors.
You've done this before, you and your organization.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And had a meeting in Harlem where people came from from up and down the East Coast, the National Conference of Black Women. People came from Chicago, from Philadelphia, from Washington, D.C. People came from New York to meet with representatives from McDonald's and Subway.
Right.
McDonald's,
Subway sandwich shop,
right.
yeah.
And all the people that we said, people from law enforcement, educators, law enforcement, women's organizations, ministers, everybody that we told them would be at the meeting was there. McDonald's and Subway ignored the meeting. They would not even come and talk. And then they have a black woman that they send around to push back against us and tell people that we are stick-up artists and that...
Trying to shake them down.
Right.
Shake down artists. Right.
They're shakedown artists. And we said we never asked them for anything.
Right.
We asked them if
Except for some respect.
that they would take their commercials off the radio that is not just saying things that's insulting, but are actually promoting murder. Would you take your commercials off that radio station? McDonald's refused to do it. Subway refused to do it. And what McDonald's says is that y'all can say all you want. We know that black people will not stop eating our product. They will not, they don't have the discipline. That black people, if you can jump up and down, call us names, say, print out lyrics, doesn't make any difference. Black people will not be inconvenienced. They will go to McDonald's when the mad discipline, some years ago there was a thing called the mad cow.
Mad cow disease, right, right.
And so McDonald's, along with other fast food people, had to pull back.
Right.
The mad cow disease was having a negative effect, scaring people away from fast food.
Right.
Except McDonald's in the black community. In the black community, even with the mad cow disease being publicized, black folks still went to McDonald's.
Still consuming beef, still consuming McDonald's.
McDonald's says, once we saw that, then we knew that these black people will never organize in their own best interest. So you can complain and pull back. We are not going to withdraw because black people will not stop. They will make up all kinds of excuses around boycotts are over.
Right.
You know, they've got some black professional marketing organizations. They do an annual meeting. They say that movement stuff is over. Boycotts are over. We need a new strategy. Being in the street is no longer relevant. You know what? Everybody in the world is in the street.
Absolutely.
They're in the street in Russia.
In the street
in Hong Kong.
Exactly. Mass protests.
They were in the street in Puerto Rico. Did they
Right.
drive the boy out of office in the street
in Puerto Rico? Absolutely, they did.
Everybody in the world who is engaged in a non-violent struggle is in the street.
And they engage in mass protests But but mass protests are one of the tactics in their overall plan.
That's right.
Mass protests are not their plan, and very quickly, I know you've worked with Dr. Claude Anderson before. Dr. Claude Anderson is one of my teachers. I've interviewed him a number of times. So I totally understand this. But, April 3rd, 1968, Dr. King's last speech, I've been to the mountaintop, he talked about how we have to always anchor our external direct action with the power of economic withdrawal. We have to always anchor our external direct action with the power of economic withdrawal, meaning that when you have mass protests, you also have to have targeted, sustained economic withdrawal strategies targeting your opponent to weaken them so you can push your agenda. All right, so very quickly here, everybody, hey, we are at Sister's Place, located at 456 Nostrand Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. So when you're in Brooklyn, come on, check out Sister's Place. Okay.
It's Nostrand.
Nostrand.
Because people will think.
I'm sorry, Nostrand. That's right, Nostrand.
Not from New York, people will think you're talking about a different street.
Yeah, Nostrand. Yeah, Nostrand. Nostrand Avenue.
There's a street in New York City.
Yeah.
That's named after the guy who founded Houston.
Okay.
But if you want to find it in New York City, you have to ask for Houston Street.
Houston, right, instead of Houston.
That's right.
Houston Street. Now, is that Sam Houston? Is that a different Houston?
No, it's named after the same guy.
Okay, Sam Houston.
That's right. But
Okay.
in New York is Houston.
Right, and I think Sam Houston was involved in the Alamo fight as well. Okay, and I'm here with the legendary Bob Law. You can listen to him on WBAI radio Saturday mornings. What time is your show on?
11 a.m.
11 a.m. 11 a.m. to what? 1 p.m.
11 a.m. to noon is 99.5.
99.5 as well. Okay, and we're here for the Black Agenda Tour as well. BGX, Jice Johnson, Jade Arundel, myself, Michael Imhotep. And it's Friday, August 23rd, 2019. And then also Saturday, August 24th, 2019 at the Makata Museum located at 80 Hanson Place, Brooklyn, New York. Visit theblackAgendaOnTour.com for more information, theblackAgendaOnTour.com or AfricanHistoryNetwork.com for more information. Just very quickly as we wrap up here, how can people get involved in this fight, the Respect Us campaign? How can people get involved? Can people outside of the state of New York get involved or what?
Oh yeah, the campaign is national.
Okay.
And it is the National Conference of Black Women is headquartered in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
The Clear the Airwaves project with Kwame Rasuli is based in Chicago.
Okay.
There are people in various cities, Kansas City, Philadelphia, people who are working with this. The way that people can get involved, because they don't have to wait for an event or anything that any of these organizations is doing.
Right.
One of the ways to get involved is to keep in mind what you just referenced about using our economic power, engaging in economic sanctions.
Exactly.
We have said over and over, McDonald's, Subway, for instance, the Star,
right,
Adidas, but there are people who make enormous money from black consumer dollars. But the black consumer dollar doesn't have any leverage. We ought to get more respect based on how much they depend on us for their prosperity.
Right.
But we don't get that respect. You have to begin to withdraw your taken for granted economic support.
Right.
Stop going into places that you know don't respect you. Stop going into places that you know are engaged in helping to finance the degradation of your own people.
We're financing our own dehumanization.
And begin to push back. Stop making excuses for vulgar rhetoric.
Right.
And that degrades and dehumanizes black women. How dare you call that artistic freedom? See, there's a difference between freedom and anarchy.
Okay.
And what we're looking at is not artistic freedom, we're looking at anarchy.
Right.
And also, so push back. Stop making excuses. Stop trying to defend. I heard somebody say that whoever saw a rap record that killed somebody, look how stupid that is. No one has ever said that a piece of hardware, a rap record, killed anybody. So why do you take it to such a ridiculous extreme in order to build your case? It is the content. It is the rhetoric, it is the content, it is the messages that become embedded in your mind.
Right.
That is where the damage is being done. And stop allowing our young people to give us less than their best. But this is not their voice.
Right.
They don't know their voice.
Right.
They haven't discovered their voice. Stop acting like this is all they can be.
Well, you know, what's so important, and two of my teachers, Dr. Linda Jeffries and Professor James Small, I just interviewed them this past week dealing with the 400th year anniversary of August 20th, 1619. And when they teach and I teach, we talk about the pyramid principle. And the pyramid has three sides. The foundation of the pyramid is your African history and culture, which gives you your values, your interests, and your principles, your VIPs. It gives you a set of standards. And you know, what you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. Your values, your interests, and your principles influence your economics, your economic empowerment, and your politics as well. So this is extremely important. Now,
let me just say,
go ahead.
With the history.
Sure.
It is important that people understand that when historians, and I used to have Leonard Jeffries on the air, always.
Yes.
That's how he became a national personality.
Okay.
But history is not a revisiting of the past.
Right.
See, history actually is a kind of regeneration at its highest form. You don't go back to what you used to be just to celebrate what you used to be.
Right.
When you go back to history, you are put in touch with what your potential, what you should be.
Right.
See, there's no point in talking about how we built the pyramids if we're not even trying to build anything now.
Right. Affordable housing, or just houses, period.
Yeah,
Controlling the land and owning the land in our community.
We built the pyramids and are so pleased with that.
Right.
But now we're lining up waiting for affordable housing.
Right.
I think, was it Askia Muhammad today, whose book is From the Pyramids to the Projects? Wasn't supposed to be.
Right.
So when you go back and look at history, history is revitalization.
Exactly.
At its highest form.
Right.
It looks back at what you were, which reminds you of what you are supposed to be.
Right.
It gives you the ideal, just as you said, it puts you in touch with your values and the principles that allowed your people to prosper. And here's what has to happen.
Sure.
Particularly as you look at this music and the emerging generation. When somebody says they think it's a generation gap.
Okay.
It can't be a generation gap if you understand that you, at your 21, 23, 24 years of age, that you are part of a people.
Right.
That nobody is oppressing young black people. They are oppressing black people. All black people.
In general, not just young,
Yes,
but in
all
general.
black people
Right.
are under attack.
Right.
Eric Garner was not in his 20s.
Right, exactly.
All black people are under attack.
Right.
The move to remove Leonard Jeffries from his job.
City College in New York, yes.
That was not an attack on a young black man.
Right.
Black people are under attack. And so if you understand that black people are under attack and you are part of that group, then your response to oppression won't be based on who you think you are personally.
Right.
But it'll be based on where you fit within the context of your group. For instance, you will never hear, I can prophesy this.
Okay.
You will never hear a 22, 23-year-old, a Jewish millennial, say that the Holocaust doesn't relate to them because that wasn't their generation.
Right, right. Exactly.
The only people who say that, who are being led to say things like that, are black youth. So the movement, there are people who are getting movie deals who say that I worked hard to get this movie deal.
Sure.
I did this. They ignore the movement that created the very possibility for them to even have a movie deal.
Exactly.
They didn't do the work that changed the political landscape in Hollywood.
Right.
They didn't do the work. Other people did the work who were not even movie makers.
Right.
You know, there were people who did the work that opened the doors for everything. And this generation has to understand that black people are under attack. There's no one segment within the black community. Black people are under attack. Not black youth, not black women, not black men, black people.
Right.
And black people have no legal standing in this country. Michelle Alexander's book, New Jim Crow, makes it clear. Black people have no legal standing. You can't win in court. We know that. They've got all kind of things, loopholes and all kind of things to make it difficult for you to even bring your case to court. So it's not that black youth don't have legal standing. Black people don't have legal standing. We are under attack as a people, and once you understand that you are part of a people, then it is impossible for there to be a generation gap.
Right. You know, last two things. I wrote an article a few years ago. I saw a TED Talk, and it was this white pastor. I think his name was Pastor Mike or something like that. And he talked about how you cannot make a hip-hop song about killing dogs, but it's okay to make hip-hop songs about killing black people.
Right.
They will not play a hip-hop song on the radio about killing a dog.
Right.
But they will play songs on the radio about killing black people. Okay,
Right.
that right there shows you the dichotomy, the hypocrisy. Is there a website people can go to get engaged with the Respect Us campaign, or is there social media platforms?
They can
give them that information.
They can go to the clear the airwaves.
Okay.
WAVES. Clear the airwaves. .com. I believe it's .com.
Okay.
Or you can go to the National Congress of Black Women.
Okay, National Congress of Black Women. I've been on a panel discussion with the brother with the Clear the Airwaves project in Detroit. So excellent. Okay,
But that's probably not Rasuli, but I think that's more so Clear the Airwaves project.
Right, Clear the Airwaves project.
And those two websites have the information about this music, this concern for the music. You can go to the National Black Leadership Alliance as well. The National Black Leadership Alliance has a lot of additional other kinds of information about the things that we are concerned about.
Okay.
And other issues that we are raising and videos that we have addressing other concerns. So you can go there, but to get in touch with this music issue, it would be the National, and the Respect Us campaign.
Right.
It would be the National Congress of Black Women.
National Congress of Black Women. Okay,
It's
so
an
check them out.
organization that was founded here in Brooklyn by Shirley Chisholm.
Shirley Chisholm, absolutely. And the first African-American woman to run for president, Shirley Chisholm as well, okay? All right, everybody. Hey, this has been Michael Imhotep, host of the African History Network show, founder of the African History Network. I'm a talk show host, researcher, lecturer, and writer. We've had a fantastic discussion with our brother, legendary radio talk show host, Bob Law. Once again, we are at Sister's Place here in Brooklyn, 456 Northstrand Avenue in Brooklyn. So if you're in Brooklyn, come on down to Sister's Place. It's African-American owned and operated. Let them know, Michael, you heard about this from Michael Imhotep. They'll take good care of you as well, okay?
And don't forget,
Yes.
ask for Nostrand Avenue.
Nostrand Avenue. What did I say?
Nostrand, it's okay.
Oh, Nostrand Avenue.
From
Okay.
Detroit. You just
I'm
say
from
Nostrand.
Detroit. Okay, Nostrand Avenue. If you like this type of information, a few things you can do. Follow us on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network. We have 1 million followers there at The African History Network. Follow me on my YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. You can donate to the African History Network, paypal.me/the AHN show, paypal.me/the AHN show, or at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Click on the yellow donate button. That helps us to cover expenses when we have to travel, helps us to pay the bills, keep doing the research, finance our Sunday night show, the African History Network show, on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation WFDF in Detroit, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can also order my DVD lectures at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. I have over 40 of my lectures on DVD, and you can register for the online courses that I teach, like Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. All right, so look, we have to get out of here. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, right knowledge corrects wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you next time. Peace. All right, brother. Thank you, man. Good, good.